Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another fantastic and exciting episode of Designing Your Life Live. I'm fortunate today to be joined by one of the #1 best-selling authors, Bill Burnett.
I'm actually fortunate that Savannah came to my office here at Stanford so we could do this together, because we always are in different places. And
I know.
It's not as
That's
much
why
fun.
I was kind of missing you. I wanted to come hang out for this one.
It's
And
great.
especially with such an exciting announcement. We've been talking about having a coaching program behind the scenes, believe it or not, and all of your emails and your messages were super important and inspiring for us to make the decision. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, ever since the book came out about a year ago, September now, so September 2016, right? And 17, so here we are, maybe a year and a quarter. And when we first sent the book out, we started getting all these really cool emails from people saying, oh, this is really great. I want to use it in my coaching practice. And frankly, I wasn't that familiar. Dave wasn't that familiar with the world of life coaches and career coaches. And as we've gotten to know some of these people, and we've got a coaching page, a Facebook page, just for folks to having that conversation.
So over 700 people in there, by the way. If you haven't joined, you're more than invited. I'll put the link in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we started finding out about this incredible ecosystem of people who are out there doing kind of the same thing we're doing, trying to help people live intentional lives that thrive and turn into the lives that they want. And they were saying, wow, we're finding a bunch of stuff in the DYL book that is kind of useful. Can we use it? And our original response was, sure, if you buy a book, it's like a textbook. You can just teach from the book. And I think there's a Facebook live post maybe six, 7 months ago that Dave did.
Yeah.
Kind of explaining, what are the rules. And the rules are essentially just attribute us like you would in any academic situation. If you're quoting from the book, make sure you use the copyright of the book. And if you want to use, we put all the worksheets and everything up on our website for free, so anyone can use it. But as we started having more and more conversations with coaches, and we went out and we did a little bit of need finding, we talked to a bunch of coaches. Actually, one of our Savannah and a woman named Cynthia Benjamin went out and did a bunch of interviews. And we found that although the coaches were fine using the materials, they really were like, could we get some help? Could we get you guys to teach us? How do you teach this stuff? How do you make it land with students? How do you make it effective? And so we thought, well, yeah, we could do that. I mean, there's lots of coaching institutes in the world that certify people to be career coaches or life coaches. And, they've kind of done the heavy lifting already of helping people, get into the career of coaching. And maybe what we could do is we could offer a certification. You could come to San Francisco. We would sort of teach you how we teach this stuff behind the scenes. We'd give you what we're going to call our coaching notes and how we coach it one-on-one with students in office hours. And then we would have a certificate, and people could opt into that. And as we started thinking more about that might be advantageous because, one, you actually have learned from the people who built the curriculum how to coach it. Two, you'd have a bunch of notes. And three, we'd love to be able to promote other people's practice in this area. We just want to be effective, have impact. We want to help people design the lives they love. And so if you complete a coaching certificate with us, you'll get a little certificate. We'll make up something really designerly and fun. And but better than that, we're gonna have a page on our website where we list all the coaches. So if somebody says, hey, I'm in Minnesota or Minneapolis and I'm looking for a certified DYL coach, we'll say, hey, Jane Smith in Minneapolis is a certified coach. What we'll probably do is, as each of these classes graduate, and we'll post, we'll build a page and we'll post all the new coaches. And anytime you have an announcement or something about the way something you're doing in your own world of coaching, we'll help push that out to the DYL community. Savannah is our community manager, and she'll make sure that folks who are certified are recognized as such.
Definitely. I just want to take a quick moment and say hello to everyone who's reaching out to us in the comments. We've got viewers from Chicago, from Quito, Ecuador. We were
awesome.
We were excited to see you, Gabby. We noticed when you signed up and we all got excited with how global the coaching program is. So thank you. I've actually been to Quito. Have you been to Ecuador?
I have not.
Oh, you must.
Maybe we should do a workshop.
I like it. I like it. We're also, to that note, we're also driven to serve you where you are. So if there's a location where you think there's a big community that we could serve better, always let us know.
Yeah.
And final thing while I'm rambling, let us know any comments you have or any questions rather you have in the comments, because this is going to serve as probably our most useful resource leading up to the July event, which is very exciting. So we're ready to answer everything you've got. What's up to Texas? Joe, we're really happy to have you with us. This is awesome. So first things first, who should consider this program? Who do you think is qualified to become a Designing Your Life coach?
Yeah, we're trying to make it as open as possible, but one of the things we're setting up as kind of the requirement is, well, one, you have to have taken the class as a student. And there's multiple opportunities to take it. I'm teaching another workshop on May 19th, the Designing Your Life for Women weekends. There's going to be one, I think, May 5th and 6th, and another one in June 23rd and 24th. The May 5th and 6th one's in San Diego, I think, and the other one is up here in Pacific Grove. Those are great workshops.
There's also, actually, to this note, since we get a lot of inbound about East Coast, the women are also doing an October workshop in New York City that you can find on their Eventbrite page as well.
So you have to have one of those done so that you've actually experienced the material as a student. And if you can't come to one of the live workshops, we do have the entire workshop up on a platform called Creative Live. So go to creativelive.com, creativelive.com, and look for Designing Your Life. And that's a 22 module, and we just posted a bonus module of some material that's not in the book. So if you have a certificate of completion from that or from one of our workshops, then that's step one. Because you really want to have experienced the material as a student and to understand how does this land with me, so that you have empathy for the people you're coaching. Then, there's a number of different really high quality coaching schools out there that certify life and career coaches. And they provide not only that training and whatever their model for coaching is, but they provide help with business development and how do you pay your taxes and how do you set up your own practice and how do you advertise and help people, find you.
The business side.
Yeah, the kind of business side. And that's a super value added thing that those coaching institutions and other places do. So we plan to certify you on Designing Your Life, but we're assuming you already have your own practice and you're kind of adding this as a value added service and using maybe the popularity of Designing Your Life in the book and the movement that we're creating here with Savannah's help. You're using that to help propel people into your practice to try it. So we'd really we're saying that the only people that we can certify are people who already have their own life or career coaching practice. So that was in the announcement that went out on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Since then, we've gotten tons and tons of responses.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Seriously, it feels really good for both of us.
A pile of applications I'm going to weed through this weekend.
Nice.
It's great. Yeah. And of course, a bunch of questions came up. So, and questions like, okay, well, I don't have a coaching certificate, but I have an MA in counseling and I've been a professional counselor for 10 years. Well, of course that qualifies. You have your own practice, you have your own methodology, you got an MA in counseling, you're more than I got. There's a couple of people who work in other kinds of institutions. They work in, maybe they're in a community college and they're in the career center and they do career counseling. Absolutely qualified. Certainly, you're not actually trying to build your own practice. You already have, the university and students. So you're really just trying to add this to your credentials. That's awesome. We also have people from other, university settings who want to do it. One thing, if you want to build a Designing Your Life program at your university, we support that through the Stanford Life Design Lab. Go to the Life Design Lab website, and we'll include that URL as well. We run transfer studios for schools to come, and we teach them the entire curriculum, which is much larger than what's in the book. We give them all of our teachers' notes, and we help them design a curriculum for their schools. We've done this for 14 universities already, including Harvard, Yale, MIT, Dartmouth, Berkeley, and others. And we've got 40 universities coming to 2 more transfer workshops in June. So if you're a university or community college person and you want to bring the curriculum to your university, please email us The person in charge of our studios is Gabrielle Santo Donato. She runs that part of the Designing Your Life Lab, and it is Stanford's commitment to give this curriculum away to anybody who wants it if they'll come and get trained. But if you're more like, I work at a university, but I also do coaching on the side or something like that, and you just want to add this curriculum to your personal practice, that's totally legitimate. If you're at a university, community college, if you're a counselor, somebody was from, I think, the VA, and they do counseling on career, people leaving the military and going into private careers. That's fine. If you are in the career or life counseling, coaching business, and you already have either your own domain of practice or your own personal practice, or people come and you coach them one-on-one or two-on-one, then you're qualified. We just want to make sure that people aren't expecting us to help them build their business around this, because that's not what we're set up to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's important to delineate, is that this is not the best track for educators looking to implement in the classroom. There are other channels for that at Stanford, at the studio. If you are a coach or someone who inspires people but aren't necessarily looking to teach a class called Designing Your Life, which is very different, this coaching training program is much more up your alley.
And that's what this is designed for.
Yes.
One other thing, just to be super clear, there are only 2 entities in the world licensed to teach a Designing Your Life workshop. Dave and me, because we wrote the book, so we own the license to that. And the head of our lab, Kathy Davies, who's a fantastic educator, has a license with a woman named Susan Burnett, who, yes, happens to, in fact, be my sister, but was also the chief learning officer at Yahoo, Deloitte, and the Gap. So she's kind of qualified. Those 2 are licensed to teach the Designing Your Life for women. It's a 2-day, very immersive workshop. That's different than coaching. That's going out in the world, hanging up a shingle saying, I will teach, I'm teaching this workshop. It's a life transformational event, either in a day or 2 days. We may end up with Designing Your Life for men, Designing Your Life for veterans. Dave Evans, who couldn't be here today, by the way, is just finishing a workshop with the U.S. Olympic Committee and the athletes from the Summer Olympics who are interested in figuring out, what do you do after you can't be a speed skater or a luger anymore?
Yes, one of the women who took a photo of him did the skeleton, which I think is one of the most brave Olympic sports, without question. And so I was like, you think we're cool?
So what we're certifying people to do is to coach. That means kind of one-on-one or two-on-one, or however you do your practice. We're not certifying what we would call trainers. And we do plan to have a train the trainer program and actually license people the full domain of all the IP to do training. And when people do that, they kick back it's just like being a certified, trainer for 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or being a LifeSpring or a Forum trainer. So that's a different thing where that's excluded from this certification. But I think the people that are applying are really interested in doing this in a one-on-one kind of coaching experience. They often have, dozens of clients that they meet with either virtually or in person, and using their own coaching model, whatever that motivational model might be, and then adding in some Designing Your Life materials just to make it a better experience. So you got to be a coach certified by somebody, or be doing it, as a profession somehow.
A professional entity.
You are a professional somehow.
Yeah.
There are some folks, for instance, here in our Career Center who teach with us, who are probably going to, also become certified, and then they'll do it in their own personal private practice. They won't be doing it as a Stanford person. So hopefully that's clear. And the reason you would want to do it, I think, is both because you kind of learn the master class from the folks who Dave and I'll be teaching the class, and we'll tell you exactly how we coach one-on-one. I mean, a lot of our work here is in office hours. We do teach the classes. It's a 10-week class. It's 2 hours a week on a Friday. I'm teaching Designing Your Life right now to the spring seniors. I always save the spring seniors for my class because they're very attentive and very worried about graduating.
All eyes and all ears.
Yeah, all eyes and all ears. And they come to office hours and they really want help, figuring out what to do.
Engaged, active
students. They're all there because they want to be. And so that one-on-one stuff we do in office hours is exactly, the parallel to, I think, your coaching stuff. So we've got a lot of notes on how that works. I think, one, so you'd have the masterclass notes on that stuff. And two, we will put you on the website. And because we do get requests all the time, hey, I'm in New Zealand, or hey, I'm in Chicago, or hey, I'm in something, and you guys never do workshops out here. How can I learn the material, learn this better? Or how can I get some help with, I'm stuck on Odyssey planning, or I'm stuck on, my gratitude journal. And we'll be able to say, well, John or Debbie or Susie is in Chicago, and they're a certified DYL coach. Mm-hmm. So I think that will be, hopefully, real value added. And, you will have access to there are three completely new exercises, worksheets, and stuff that are not in the book. They're not in the book. Only one of them is in Creative Live. So you'll have access to stuff that we're developing, because this is an ongoing lab, and we keep developing new work as we discover, where the gaps are and where people need more help. It will also be part of a learning community that we'll be managing with Savannah, and all the coaches will be sharing, their best practices and stuff they tried and did. So that'll be a nice community of folks sharing, their ideas. We have expected coaches might invent a new way to do something that we all end up sharing, and
we all learn from each other.
Roll back into the curriculum. So it's being part of that community, getting access to the new stuff as it happens, both that we develop and the community develops, getting the whatever the bright shiny logo advertising is on the website that you can put on your website for your practice, and we will promote you as well. I think that'll make it worth it.
Awesome. Let's take a couple questions
Sure.
from the group here. We have a very active group. Thank you to everyone who's commenting, sharing, getting excited. Rebecca, I especially appreciate you, quote, trying to contain yourself from freaking out with the trainer comment. It's a joy to hear that. Please don't stop sharing all of this wonderful stuff. How many coaches? Laura's wondering how many coaches you're thinking about certifying.
Well, we have a setup here in San Francisco that we've used before. It's a really cool kind of funky warehouse venue that sort of was a startup. Now it's kind of a event space over in the Mission called the Here Collective. We can't get more than 60 people in there. So the maximum number of tickets that we can sell for this event are 60. What'll happen, by the way, is if you're interested, you follow the link and you fill out a SurveyMonkey application. That's just to give us a sense of, who are you, where are you from, what coaching certification do you hold, why do you want to do this? It's very general. I think people are, on average, the SurveyMonkey said it takes like less than 10 minutes to fill it out.
5, I think.
5 to 10 minutes, yeah. So we fill that out, and then assuming, that you meet the requirements, they're reasonably easy to meet, we will send you back a link saying, okay, great, you look like you're good to go. Here's the coaching contract, so you know what you're signing up for and what the rules are about that. And here's a link to the Eventbrite site, which is private. You can only get there if we send you a link. Click on the link, give them a credit card and get ready. And then we'll be sending out some materials probably the week before to make sure people are prepped. And we will need a signed contract and a proof that you've taken the class from either Creative Live or one of us in order to attend. But once we've got the sort of paperwork done, we'll send you all the information you need to show up on July 28th, ready to go.
Great. So in theory, there's not necessarily a fixed limit on the number of people.
No, in fact, look, I mean, this particular room will hold 60. If we get 100 people, we'll just do it twice, and we'll ask people what's a better. The summer is the best time for Dave and I. It's when we have the most time available because there's no classes in the summer at Stanford. So we'll just there's no upper limit to the thing right now. I've got a room that'll hold 60. I've already got about 50 applications. So we may end up having to do this 2 or 3 times. And if that's the case, we'll let everybody know. As soon as this one fills up, we'll roll over.
I think it's going to be a few more than that.
Well, as soon as this, let's
not going to jinx it.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. As soon as this one is full, we'll announce another date.
Yes.
And if it's, and then people can move, around if that turns out to be a possibility. So there's no, we don't know really what the sort of organic demand for this is. We know lots of people have asked us for it. But once it comes time to actually sign up and pay money and things, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We're super, like Savannah posted the announcement first on the coaches page, on the Facebook page, so people in the coaching community found out about it first. And then on the general, our general email. And I was excited because I looked on the thing and said, oh, we already got 4 applications. And then I went off to class and I did some other stuff and I came back and I was like, holy cow, we got 52 applications. So I was very, we're surprised and excited about people coming. It's going to be a fun session because since everybody's already taken the class and you've all read the book and some of you are already using it.
Yeah. We
can start at a pretty high level and really go deep on how, what's the pedagogy. There's a bunch of stuff that is not in the book, obviously, because it's way too complicated for a casual reader, and stuff that the underlying design of the workshops and the classes have a really sort of a very, very clear pedagogy of why they work. And it's both based on design thinking and positive psychology. So you have to, there's a lot of information that you're going to get in this workshop that'll be super useful. It probably ties to other things you already use as a coach, but this will give you a way to kind of wrap it all in one story.
I love that. So let's talk a little bit more about the day, the workshop itself specifically. So what's the lineup? What's the agenda for folks watching?
Yeah, so we want to, first of all, most of you know that the workbook that accompanies the book has come out, and that kind of covers all of the exercises in the book. So we'll have workbooks for everybody. Bring your own, but we'll give you another one. And we'll be going through every single one of the exercises in the book, both explaining why it works this way, what sequence is probably the most reasonable way to do it, and then also our own notes on how we coach this stuff. And then, that will take us kind of through the material. And each step we're going to do, we're all into about hands-on learning. So we're going to do each of the things as if we were coaching. We'll probably put you in pairs. We will role play. Someone will be a coach. Someone will be a coachee. We will watch you go through the process. The whole group, we'll maybe watch a few folks do it together. We'll comment on what's positive and what's effective, what could be more effective. Then everybody will coach somebody, and then vice versa, be coached in the process. So you will have a hands-on opportunity to really experience the material the way we do it. Dave and I are still working out whether we're going to role play, what we think is the best version, but we'll have all of that in place. And so expect to cover the material in depth, to actually coach with the material, and get coached by me and Dave on how you're doing it, to get kind of the best practices documented. And then I'm sure a lot of you are already using the materials, and so we want to understand how are people using it. From them. Yeah, this is a learning community. This will be the first convening of this community of 50 or 60 people who are really into this stuff, really want to help people, and we're sure you'll have your own ideas about how to make this effective, and we want to start capturing that.
So how many?
We will probably videotape the entire thing. And I'm working right now to figure out if there's a way to videotape it and then simply chunk it into, okay, this was energy mapping, this was gratitude, this was the good time journal, so that you guys have a private, we'll have a private YouTube channel or something where you can go back and you can look at how it happened in the class just to remind yourself. So we'll build some kind of a video archive of the experience so that you can go back and use that as a reference point.
That's great. So how many hours of training are they going to get in this coaching?
Well, we start right at 8:30, no later, and we go till 6, probably 6, maybe 6:30. So it's like the intensive. It's a full day of work. We've got a lot of material to cover and a lot of practice to do. So
definitely
expect to not leave the room except for a bathroom break and lunch. And we'll probably have we're going to have an in-house lunch, and Dave and I will use that time while you're eating to zoom back talk about how the class was developed, what is the underlying pedagogy of the class, how does the container, the community, the construct, and the conversation work, which is the 4 C's that the whole thing is built on, and give you, kind of an insight as to, how to make it the most effective, and also where you can break it. One of the issues with some folks that we've talked to is they already have a model for adult development, and they want to do something like, we love the Odyssey plan, but we're just going to do one because it's all about being your perfect self. And they're like, time out. No, actually, you could have that opinion. That's fine, but that is antithetical to the idea of design thinking, multiple ideas. You choose best when you choose from many, and that it's the process of brainstorming and adapting your way into the future, not trying to find the one perfect thing. So we've watched people break the paradigm, and we can show you, and we can tell you where that happens and kind of what to look out for.
That's excellent. So because people are human creatures, and we talked about the payment moment.
Yes.
What does the fee include?
Yeah, so the fee includes the day of training and your first year of certification. So to be a certified coach is $800 a year. And the $2,800 for the class includes from July 28th, 1 year forward, you're certified, you're ready to go. We'll do a recertification process, which will be more online, much more lightweight than having to fly to San Francisco and do the whole thing again every year. And that's where we'll introduce the new material, give you new kits of exercises to work with, and new coaching, probably through video or something. So you'll re-up to be certified every year, and it's $800 a year. So we looked around at lots of the other coaching certificates and models, and some people charge a lot more. Some people charge a lot more. I was just talking with Chris, yeah, and Chris Borland. Can I say it's Chris Borland?
Yeah, of course.
Chris has just finished the Search Inside Yourself training.
Yeah,
which is the project that came out of the Google guy, the book Search Inside Yourself. And it's a very rigorous training. It's weeks and weeks. You have to be in person for a weekend, online stuff, in person for the last weekend. $7,500. It's $20,000 for the class. It's really quite an amazing program, but I thought quite expensive, frankly. Many other coaching certifications are $10,000 or $12,000 or whatever. We're sort of an adder to that, so we thought this was a reasonable price point, and then just enough every year to make sure, one, you're still part of the learning community and you're still participating, and that it's still worth it to you. So that's why there's typically a recurring fee on this stuff. We think it's reasonable. I've had a couple of people who are working in nonprofits. A woman who's, I think, in a nonprofit up in Canada, working on, helping place people in jobs in a low-income community. And she was asking if there's a possibility for a scholarship for people who are working in the nonprofit sector. Dave and I really want to support that kind of work. We think that kind of work is super important. Frankly, I teach at this elite university, and somebody once said, you can teach your class if you want, but those Stanford kids will be fine, whether they learn how to design their lives or not. And to a certain extent, that might be true. But folks in other economic situations or without the privilege of a university education, we want to help them too. So we're trying to figure out part of charging a $2,000 fee for the class and $800 for the stuff is we're hoping that there's enough people who are coming that we can subsidize folks in the nonprofit community. So we will make an announcement about that. We're still assessing what that demand is. I don't know, what I can do for that, but Dave and I are committed to making sure that people can afford to do this if they're working, in a non-commercial capacity.
Additionally, that said, we do have folks who reach out every single workshop that we host, if you are someone who, say, is on the flip side of the coin and was really impacted by the DYL experience and wanted to give that to someone, we could certainly facilitate a scholarship.
Oh, yeah. If you want to give away a thing.
If you wanted to share a book or a workbook or a workshop or even the Creative Live class, we're more than happy to work with you. Or even if you wanted to anonymously gift a friend of yours or however you want to do it, we're more than happy to be there for you.
And, you know, I know the Designing Life for Women group has a small number of scholarships for women who, again, are maybe in a nonprofit situation or in a situation where they just don't have the money. I know they often have 2 or 3 people in the DYL for Women group on some kind of scholarship. You'd have to inquire directly with them. When people write me, for instance, for this Designing Life Intensive, the class that's coming up on May 19th, if you're in the military, I have a discount for you. If you want to come as a married couple, because I just think that's really interesting, I have a discount for you. And folks who approach me from a nonprofit, at least on a one-on-one basis, if it's a legitimate nonprofit and the nonprofit's going to pay to have them go, you know, we want to try to make it accessible. So we do have, you know, on a case-by-case basis in both classes, the opportunity to get a scholarship. And we'll do something for the coaches as well. I mean, if you're a professional coach and you're in the coaching business, I think this is, you know, most coaches are charging $60 to $100 an hour. So, you know, this is, you know, somewhere between 8 and 10 hours worth of coaching, and you pay for your certificate for the year. So I don't think that's too bad a deal. And I think with the certificate and the publicity you get from our website and our newsletter and everything else, I think those 8 or 10 hours are going to be easy to sell. But if you are working, you know, in a nonprofit, at a women's shelter, trying to help people find jobs or find, you know, housing, or if you're working, you know, in a nonprofit, the particular person was coming from the YWCA, I think, which is a fantastic organization, you know, doing career placement out of there. We'll try to do what we can do to help, and certainly if anybody wants to contribute to that, I can match you with somebody who's looking for a scholarship.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a gift of designing your life. It's a powerful gift, and we've had a couple people talk about it before.
Yeah,
so,
It's a great way to pay it forward.
I also think that's something. There's been a couple of questions of exactly, you know, various value propositions of the coaching certification program. And I think, and obviously I'm biased because I have the privilege of managing you all, but I think our community here is a priceless asset. And the relationships I've seen and the book groups, the design teams formed, the cross-culture, cross-globe conversations that are fostered both offline and online in our channels as a result of the community are massive. So I can all but guarantee you would make some new friends and really powerful, potentially professional allies for you as a coach in this group, because who knows what you can do together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You may be, and you may be even in the same city and you don't know it. A number of people are asking, is it just one day? And the answer is yes, it is just one day for the coaching certificate, but you have had to completed a day before you get there, either in one of our workshops or Creative Live. It takes roughly, I think it's a 12-hour segment or something of online classes. So
yeah, I think it's about 12. It's long. It's legit though. It's very good program. For those of you, actually, this has come up a lot. If you watched Creative Live for free, good on you. If you just happen to get a great deal, don't worry. You don't have to rewatch it again and pay for it. We're happy to, as long as you were logged in and we can confirm you really did watch it, which is something I believe we can do with their team.
Yeah, we've talked with the CL team, and they can tell us. There's a lot of people start the class, but you have to actually have finished it in order for it to count. So, you know, watching a few hours, you know, of the live stream and then, you know, having it on while you did lunch. I mean, we want you to be able to deliver the material really, really well, as good as we would do it.
Absolutely.
So you really have to know it. I mean, there's an old expression I use around here a lot, particularly when I'm bringing up a new lecturer or a new instructor. To teach is to learn twice, right? To teach something, not only do you have to know it well, you have to know it so well you can give it away. You can literally give it to someone else and they'll get it. It'll land with them. So if you're not clear on how this worked for you as a starter, it's going to be very difficult to stay up with the rest of the class. So you really do have to have done it. And if you watch Creative Live for free, awesome.
Yeah.
But and I think they'll have a login that will tell us that you completed the class. So, and be honest.
Right. Well, and seriously,
we're assuming that we're working with people who are honest and are
that
trying to do
slows
good
things
things.
down from our side too. So actually, on that note, what is the timeline? How quickly do you think you'll be getting back to people who are booking flights? I saw we just got an email from Australia, for example.
Yeah.
So how when will you be making the formal invite or starting that process?
Yeah, we'll start the invitations this weekend. As I just clear, so I just clear them one at a time as I go through the applications and say, yep, looks good to me. Here's our contract. Let's go. We're going to try to do the whole contract thing online, so you can just sign electronically, and then we don't have to send papers back and forth. So we're setting up I don't know if we use DocuSign or Adobe, but we're setting that up. Should have everything up and running by the weekend.
Great. So that's fantastic. I'm sure that will help with folks. With that, and I know we don't have any specific dates announced, but hypothetically, let's say that we saw enough interest. When do you think the program would continue here? Maybe a different location? We got a lot of emails about Europe this morning. We all want to go to Europe if you're a European right now.
Dave and I love to go to beautiful cities of the world and teach people stuff.
Demand sign up, you got big needs.
Yeah, I think, again, our window is between sort of the end of July and about the middle of September, and then school starts again, and I'm quite busy. So I think if we were going, we should be able to assess in the next 10 days. If this workshop's sold out, we will announce another one. I hadn't thought about doing it somewhere else. The obvious place would either be somewhere in the middle of the country, Chicago, or somewhere on the East Coast. I grew up in Boston. That's one of my favorite cities. There's a lot of people in the New York metro area that are involved. So I've got when you fill out the application, I've got your address. If you want to put down, I can come to San Francisco, but I think I can get 20 people, in New York.
That's actually a great point.
To hang out, make a note, and we'll see what we can do. The DYL for Women is going to do a East Coast event in October, but right now I don't have anything planned. Definitely when we talk about training trainers or just doing this kind of training somewhere other than San Francisco, we're pretty opportunistic. If we can get a quorum, 40 or 50 people in the East Coast, we can come out and do a class. We can come out and do a coach's certification. It's just a matter of the logistics.
Absolutely. So if you want to, I'm sure you all are used to seeing me in every group chat. I'm the one who sends you the newsletter. So if you want to drop me a note at any point, if you have any ideas or need a little help with your rallying cry or marketing around an idea you have, I'm happy to take it up the fabulous chain. It's not a very far chain, so we look forward to that. For people who are really far away and that may not be in a place where it's rational to think we're going to end up anytime soon,
Right.
Is there a potential for, in the future or now, an online version of this, or is DYL something that needs to be in person?
I think, in principle, I think we could do an online version of the coach's certification class. And certainly for recertification and just checking in, that part every year will be probably just online. Now, once we get the other thing is, like, if we can get 100, 200, 300 people in this community, I'd love to get everybody together once a year.
Absolutely.
Just to have a conference on retreat and talk about how it's going and what everybody's doing. So and typically that kind of thing. 1 year it'll be on the East Coast, 1 year it might be in New Orleans, 1 year it might be in Seattle. I mean, if we can get enough people into this community, I think it kind of creates its own reason for being. And I'd love to be able to put 10,000 people in a AT&T Park, and we'll have a big party. But let's start with this is a first prototype. We like to prototype things.
We're building our way forward.
We're building our way forward. So the pioneering group, maybe the pioneering group get a special little logo on their certificate that says we were pioneers.
Early adopter badge.
We tried it before they actually figured it out, which is probably more true than I'm admitting. But yeah, no, I think if we can get a lot of people together, you know, I mean, come on, we're you know, Dave and I are committed to changing higher education and putting purpose back in education. This notion that we just fill you up with facts, but we don't tell you what it's for or why you learned it doesn't seem right to us. And so that's the big push in higher ed for us at the studio level. We're trying to get to every university and every community college to have people have an opportunity to at least experience a design thinking way of figuring out what they want to do next. On the personal and professional level, the more coaches, the more people using the materials, the more folks using the book just as a text, the better. We were just contacted by a professor at a school in North Carolina who says, "Oh, I've been teaching with your book for ever since it came out, and before that I was teaching another class, but I changed the name to Designing Your Life, and I've trained 20 universities." And they're like, "Who are you?"
Wow.
Like,
who is this
That's
guy?
cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to join our community? He says, yeah. I didn't know you had one.
Would you like to join us online?
So, in the university and community college space, I want to get 300 or 400 universities all talking and sharing. And, we'd all maybe get together in someplace fun like Aspen or New Orleans and talk about how we teach this stuff. I'd love to get all the coaches and people using these materials together. And have a little design fair.
And who's going to be? Will it be you and Dave at these?
Yeah, Dave and I will be teaching, and we'll have some other people help facilitate. But yeah, it'll be Dave and I are together on this one.
That is fantastic. Okay, everyone, this is your last chance to ask any questions you may have, or let us know where you are if you want a shout out. Really appreciate everyone's comments and enthusiasm, Patricia especially. We appreciate you as well. This is fantastic. It's great to see all the questions. A question I have, and this is slightly selfish because I sort of moderate this, what kind of access will this group have to you and Dave? Do you think it'll be any different or similar to what is currently in place in our other private groups?
Well, like I said, we really want to build this community, and I want people to feel supported. We want them to feel like they're part of our team. Like we're all doing this together. So yeah, I think we have to figure out a way to be a little more present, maybe once a quarter or something like that, where either there's a coaching session or there's a calling in session or something like that. So I think once a quarter, me or Dave will be working to continue to build the community and answer questions. And certainly, as you guys, Savannah does a wonderful job of managing this community and answering most of the questions, because a lot of people have the same thing. And so you get, one answer serves for lots of folks. But she always flags stuff to me and Dave when it's either a question about content or about how something's delivered, or a question about, am I allowed to do this? Is it okay? Intellectual property, stuff like that. So we're on top of what's going on, particularly on the coaching page and the community page. But I think once we establish a formal certification and a community of people who have bought in, to this family, we'll owe it to you guys to get together at least once a quarter.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. And with that too, if you've had an experience with other programs you've done that was highly successful, I, as the community manager here, am all ears.
Yeah.
So
if your other coaching community does,
you like this live video thing, we're happy to we're very flexible, and we truly are here for you. 2 last questions.
Okay, then I got to go to office hours.
Yes, exactly. Coming back,
my other students who paid $48,000 to be there.
We're all lucky students. If you do the Life Design Studio, speaking of students, and you come through Stanford, are you also a certified coach?
No, you're just a student.
Separate programs. So the academic side, Linda, is separate from the coaching side. Good to reiterate that. Yeah. Joe, I see you're asking about research papers. We have a ton of content on our website, on the blog, and I'm also happy to share some of what Bill and Dave have with you separately.
Do you have Lindsay's paper up and Tim O'Reilly's?
I don't know that we ever posted them, so we should do a blog post with that.
There's two PhD.
I think we send them out independently.
Research papers that are available, and give you a citation, you can find them, but we can at least post the highlights from that if you're looking for some more research.
Okay. Well, Bill, thank you so much for taking the time.
And thanks for coming to the office. Appreciate
my pleasure. It's great to be here, and thank you to all of you who tuned in. It's a pleasure serving you day in and day out, and we really do love getting to talk to you this way.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.